the artifacts. The three artifacts. Product backlog, sprint backlog, product increment. Product increment. Okay. Product backlog. So artifacts can be product backlog, sprint backlog, product increment. Okay. So now let's try to understand each of this. Now, product backlog. Your product that you are developing is an e-commerce site,
Okay.
right? So to complete that product, are all things that has to be done is your product backlog. Like for example, okay, if it's an e-commerce site, first you need to take care of registration, and then login, then homepage, then maybe searching and sorting, and then maybe uh, uh, filtering, and then maybe uh, uh, cart management, right? And then payments, order tracking. Like this, there might be many more. For the sake of putting it, you know, so I put few. Okay, if you have to develop a e-commerce site, these are all the various modules that has to be completed. Correct? Which means to complete a product called e-commerce site or Amazon, whatever it is, these are the list of things that has to be done. Of course, I have put it at high level, but actually, this has to be further broken down. Like registration can be like in that you can have many items like create username, password, create username, password, validate customer details, validate phone number, validate email address. All those things can be different items. But at a high level, these are things that have to be done to complete the product. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. That is product backlog. Then comes the sprint backlog. Now, what is sprint backlog? So you have the product backlog. You have the product backlog, but I'm no more concerned on, hey, what are we doing in this 2 week sprint? Okay, out of these list of items, uh, you know, what all can we achieve in this sprint? Assume I am putting as registration login. If these are the two things that we are planning to achieve in this sprint, this 2 weeks, then it's just called a sprint backlog. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to relate it to your layman example, assume you have 10 things to do. You assume you have just relocated to US, okay, and you have 10 things to do, take care of. Few
Mm.
things are immediate ones that you have to do it today, and few things maybe in coming days, but which has to be done,
Mm.
right? So things that you have to do it today, that you have planned to do it today,
Okay.
right? That you can relate it to a sprint backlog. Here, things that we are planning to do in this 2 weeks, that's sprint backlog.
Okay.
So this this sprint backlog is always subset of your product backlog,
Mm.
because these are the items that are picking from this list itself, from
Okay.
nowhere else,
Mm.
right? So the sprint backlog is always subset of your product backlog. Make sense so far?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. This is sprint backlog. And then product increment. Product increment. What is product increment? Product increment, or is nothing but product increment is nothing but whatever we are able to showcase to the stakeholders by the end of the sprint. In this case, these two things, right? Registration and login functionality, you should be able to demonstrate to the stakeholders. Where in sprint review meeting, you should be able to demonstrate this is a product to the stakeholders in sprint review meeting. But why are we calling it as increment? That's because it's an incremental software. It's a partial software. This sprint you are adding two features. Next sprint maybe you take up to these two things. So meaning you are adding more features to the same thing. You are incrementing it. And then sprint after that, maybe you're adding these two features, incrementing it. So that incremental software that you'll be showcasing to the stakeholders is called as product increment.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
No? Yeah. So these are the three artifacts. So to summarize this, we have sprint, we have scrum, we have three roles: scrum master, product owner, development team. By the way, did I mention development team who all will include?
No.
Oh, some items. Okay.
Which is
Development team
developer,
means all the
tester,
develop.
everybody.
Sorry,
So developer,
everybody.
tester, all everybody who is
Correct. Exactly. Development team includes testers also.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So we have three roles: Scrum Master, Product Owner, Development Team. We have four events plus one. Four main events: planning, sprint planning, daily Scrum or daily stand-up, sprint review, and then sprint retrospective. These are four events
Okay.
plus one. Backlog grooming or refinement session. Then we have three artifacts: product backlog, sprint backlog, product increment.
Yeah.
So on the first day, we do the sprint planning. What happens in sprint planning is we refer to the product backlog. We take up the items which is of priority from the product backlog and then plan it, right? Once the planning is complete, by the end of planning meeting, we'll have sprint backlog. Because we are deciding here, we are taking these two items. We are taking these two items. How we do it, how you decide, and all those things I'll explain. But assume you decide here, these are the two things that we are taking here. That's called as your sprint backlog now. Those two items are called a sprint backlog. And every day in daily stand-up meeting, status would be checked on these two items of sprint backlog. Right?
Okay.
Finally, we on the last day of the sprint, we review the work that's done with the stakeholders. Okay.
Okay.
For ignore this definition of done for now. I'll come back to it later.
Okay.
Okay. But otherwise